Hey, what's up guys, ARAVA here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to some juicy F1 2019 career mode news and some gameplay screenshots here today. We haven't really heard a lot about career mode. It's all been kind of kept under secret, you know, the new F2 kind of feeder series that is kind of integrated into career mode, and the kind of mini story mode they've created for that entire scenario before you go into F1. They've mentioned it, but they're not really shown too much of it, and finally now we're getting some screenshots of the whole team selection screens at the very beginning, so it's really cool to see, you know, the F2 cars, the F2 teams there to be able to choose, just like we had last year with the F1 teams for career mode. You know, you choose now your F2 team rather to start off with, because obviously the F2 feeder series is an integration into career mode with 3 rounds essentially kind of being the highlights of your F2 career before you move into F1 proper. You can do a full F2 season on its own outside of career mode, but in the actual career mode scenario, it is a 3-round story-driven kind of scenario, essentially. So all this information is coming from an official Codemasters blog, so we're going to go through that blog here just slowly bit by bit and take you through it. So the feeder series, your route into Formula 1, you'll start by selecting an F2 team, after which you'll taken through a series of scenarios that will create standout moments of your F2 season prior to your entry into F1, and that's kind of emphasis on standout moments that will carry forward with your rivals. A little bit more on that a little bit later. Each scenario has an effect upon what follows later. Your overall performance will earn you respect, which will have an impact on the contracts that are offered to you by F1 teams at the start of the following F1 season. But it's not just respect though. Your contract offers will also be influenced by reputation, and by picking a driver academy at the start of the game, you can choose which teams you want to earn bonus reputation with over the course of the feeder series. So we know we can choose driver academies. You can see here in this example, the Red Bull driver academy will obviously give you reputation, extra reputation towards Red Bull and Toro Rosso. But the way that's worded kind of seems to me that even if you do pick the Red Bull Academy, you're not going to be pigeonholed in. You can actually then go for a team that's not the Red Bull program, so not Red Bull, not Toro Rosso. But of course, it would make sense that the reputation levels, like the bars, would probably not be as high for other teams. So it'll be a lot easier for you to get, first and foremost, a contract at these teams, and then let alone a better contract. So you could probably get a much better contract at Toro Rosso, obviously, if you were in the Red Bull program, but you could probably still get into Toro Rosso as a non-Red Bull Driver Academy driver. The contract would just be probably the most basic contract ever, whereas you could probably get a pretty good one for resource points, obviously, for the start of the season, which is important, of course. As we all know, the R&D points are going to be very, very important to improve your car, and if you're starting off season 1 of your F1 career with bonuses on your contracts, that's going to help things out quite a fair bit. But anyway, more on those scenarios and the standout moments. The scenarios have more than one outcome. For example, did you choose to let your faster teammate pass or not? Your choices are key here. That's not all. The feeder series also gives you a number of cutscenes that allow those choices to play out via interactions with the game's new characters, Lucas Webber, which is your teammate, and then Devin Butler, which is your closest rival. So Lucas Webber is going to be your teammate in the F2 kind of story mode, if you will, before the F1 season, and so he's going to kind of be the bit more level-headed, kind of a bit more chilled guy, the guy you could talk to a bit more, and isn't going to be such an arse. And then Devin Butler, your closest rival, he is going to be, for lack of a better term, an absolute dickhead. Like, he's going to be the guy you despise, and I've actually seen some of these cutscenes when I went to Cody's HQ. Obviously, I don't have any gameplay to show you, but take my word for it, when I watched them, even I thought, oh, you know what, this Butler guy, yeah, I already hate him. Like, I've only seen one cutscene with him, I've not even raced him, and I already hate him just from this one cutscene. Like, the actors they chose to play each respective character was perfect in that cutscene I watched. I'm pretty sure that was near a final cutscene being done. So, yeah, they've done a really great job. The cutscenes are really great, and it really fleshes out this story mode they've got going on for the entire F2 feeder series scenario, and obviously these rivals will continue with you into F1, so that just makes things even spicier in terms of, you know, if you already hate the guy from the cutscenes and what you've played in F2, the chances are then into F1, it's going to make your hatred of him even more if you then start racing him and he starts beating you or whatnot. It's really, really cool. It's just a really cool way they made it, and I'm all for it. I love when sports games have kind of more story kind of driven aspects into their career mode aspects, like we've seen with the NBA and FIFA have tried to do, because, you know, away from racing, I may do F1 only on the channel, but I'm very much a kind of general gamer. I don't consider myself just a racer through and through, maybe unlike other YouTubers YouTubers out there that do F1. I play, a whole load of games, RPGs, FPSs, battle royales, whatever, story mode, single player driven experiences. I think one of my all-time favorite games out there is The Last of Us. F1 is a very small niche of what I play as just a huge gamer. So I love when they have story modes into sports games. Of course, I know being in the community, that's not everyone's cup of tea. I'll never fully understand those people that just want to do the racing and don't care for any of this story stuff, but that's obviously your prerogative. You can have that opinion and I'll have mine, but I love it personally. So for the channel, for me personally, it's just so great to see these kind of cutscenes and see these kind of story modes being fleshed out at the very start, and then you kind of get onto just the normal F1 career. So those of you who don't enjoy it, you can just get through it and then you play normal F1 career without any of the story stuff. But for those of you who do like it, like me, it's going to be a really, really cracking start to the entire career mode experience. So getting more into that, the blog continues saying, here's the thing, the choices you make are remembered by the game and can continue to inform the kind of questions asked by the press, not during the feeder series, but also throughout your entire F1 career. So things you've done in your F2 career, the feeder series, will actually be remembered. And so that might actually change questions and answers you're able to give later on with, I assume maybe Claire is going to come back for this game as the interviewer. So that's really cool. The range of questions that the press can ask can also be expanded upon beyond those in F1 2018. So that's great to see. There'll be way more questions than there were in F1 2018. That's good because it definitely did get a little bit repetitive after maybe about Season 5 of career mode, so that's great. And it's not just reporters. The commentators will also remember the events of the feeder series and refer to them when discussing you and your F2 rivals. So when you go up into F1, along with Lucas Webber and Devin Butler, the intro cutscenes with the commentators with David Croft and Anthony Davidson, they will actually remember and know what you've done with Webber and Butler, and they will actually refer to that. Like if you were an absolute, twat to Webber and you didn't let him pass, that will be remembered, and that will probably come up in a comment about that. If you did let him pass, maybe they'll comment on you being a little bit easy on your teammates, and you'll be, an easy number 2 driver or something like that. I don't know exactly the words, but it's gonna come up. So that's really cool to get confirmation on that as well. Of course, these relationships aren't just one way either. Lucas and Devin also answer questions from the press, and you'll regularly receive transcripts of their interviews so you can see what they're saying about you. So that's brilliant, because in the past, with all the way back to 2010 and 2011, we used to get little snippets of press stuff, but it never really meant much. And in 2018, we didn't get any of that. We didn't get any press clippings. So now we'll get transcripts of our rival and our previous teammate from F2 interviews, and that will actually feed back to what we might feel about that. So if they're saying stuff, if they're chatting honk in interviews, you might want to just kind of fight back on track. Maybe a little bit more aggressive towards Lucas or Devin if you feel like they're being a bit of an arse to you in interviews, something like that. And it also goes on to say that the transcripts of interviews will not only be about you, but also other official drivers on the grid. So it's not just like you who is making rivalries with the official F1 drivers, obviously your Vettels, Hamiltons, whatnot. It's also Lucas and Devin who move up with you from F2 to F1. They'll also have their own rivalries going on in the background with other drivers. We won't obviously get to see the rivalry bars and whatnot between them and other drivers, but I'd like to think the coding is there that they'll actually have those rivalries, and so they'll have that kind of, want and desire to beat those particular drivers specifically along with you as a player as well. The blog continues then to talk about the rivalry system. To start, selecting Devin and Lucas as a rival will award you with bonus respect, making them an often attractive but never mandatory option when choosing whom to pursue a bitter grudge or sporting rivalry with. So that's the key thing. If you are one of those people who did not like... So if you're one of those people who if you're one of those people that didn't really gel too much with the story and really didn't get invested and immersed in that stuff, you can just go and choose a rival that's an actual F1 driver, and you'll just get a normal amount of respect. But you'll get a bonus amount if you choose the story ones, because then it makes more sense. If you can get what I'm getting at, because if you choose them, then you'll have the transcripts coming through about yourself. You'll be able to engage a little bit more with the game, get immersed into this whole kind of story they're trying to build essentially throughout your F1 career once you've moved up from F2 essentially. Not only that, whoever you have as rivals, whether that's Devin or Lucas or any of the official drivers, those characters will now feature at invitational events between race weekends where they represent bonus objectives and an opportunity to score some extra respect. So I like that, because the kind of in between the official F1 races, you have those little events with classic cars. They were never really that exciting to do, and he didn't really want to do them after a while. But now knowing that actual drivers will be in that invitational, the ones you've chosen as rivals, and if you beat your rival at an invitational event, you'll get more respect. That might give you more incentive to do that if you're trying to vie for a better contract potentially, and that's pretty cool. Think of all the times that maybe in classic events, things like Goodwood maybe, where you see F1 drivers like Vettel or Hamilton or Button per se in previous years turn up and do events. Just picture that scenario of like, oh, you've got a rivalry with this driver, but now you're both on this neutral kind of a event where you both just got to drive in this classical event, but you've got that background rivalry going on, so you still want to beat him, to be fair, and try and get that extra respect. So they're trying to play on that essentially. He goes on to say, most importantly, Lucas and Devon aren't locked to a specific team. They'll start in teams similar to your own in terms of performance, but beyond that, they'll be able to pursue contracts with any team on the grid just as you can. So let's say you pick Toro Rosso, they will choose teams that are around Toro Rosso's performance. If you choose Ferrari, they'll try and choose teams around that performance, so a la Mercedes or Red Bull. But then after that initial choice, those two will, act as if they're just actual characters. They will go and do their own thing. They'll be able to swap other teams. And so we do actually get, essentially, driver transfers in career mode. Not with other official drivers, because Cody's and Liberty Media still have the thing of licensing, but at least with these made-up characters of Lucas and Devon, they can move teams. So you have 3 different seats that are going to be moving about in career mode for driver transfers year to year, hopefully, which will keep things nice and fresh, I think. There's a final paragraph here that's more for, casual fans, just saying, of course, this is all on the backdrop of the 2019 championship with all the transfers, the teams, the tracks, whatnot. But it says here that if you want to experience all of this without the dramatic elements, it's possible to skip the feeder series entirely and jump straight into F1 without the new characters and their associated gameplay system. So like I said, if you are one of those people that just likes racing, they don't care about story stuff in career mode, that's fine, of course. They've also thought of you. You can just move straight into F1 and play career mode, and essentially you'll play a lot like what 2018 played like. But if you really want an actual unique and different experience for 2019, and what I think personally for me is a much better experience of actual having story elements and that immersion factor, play through the feeder series, and you can actually get this unique kind of thing where everyone's gameplay will hopefully be very different depending on the choices you've made, the way you actually battle Lucas and Devon, and the way you swap teams around with them as well. And the rest of this blog then by Cody is just talking about F2 in terms of, like I said, you can play F2 the full season outside of career mode. It's like an actual championship mode, and you can also play the F2 cars in the actual F2 scenarios, with the whole, the way F2 works with the main race and the sprint races. You can do all of that on any track, actually. So it's not just the F2 tracks. You can race the F2 cars, a full grid of F2 cars, on tracks that F2 doesn't even go to, which is really cool because obviously you just never get to see that. Some bonkers tracks that F1 goes to that F2 never sees. You can actually do a full F2 weekend at those tracks, which is really, really cool. So they go through the blog and confirm the F2 kind of rules that usual. If you watch F2 enough, you'll know what the rules are for F2. You have 2 races each weekend, a longer one, a feature race with a mandatory pit stop, and then a shorter one, which is a sprint race essentially. And obviously you get the reverse grid for the top 8. So if you finish up in P8, you'll get reverse grid pole. And obviously you have the F2 scoring system for the points for pole position and achieving the fast lap in each of the 2 races. And along with that, the presentation style will all be kind of specific to F2. So the commentators will also be the specific ones from F2, which is Jacques and Valsecchi. So that's gonna be really cool as well as having that difference. You've seen that sometimes maybe in some other gameplays of that commentary difference essentially. And that's with F2 2018 is in the story, because it goes from 2018 to 2019 in the story mode of career mode. And later down the line, it's not done yet, but it'll be basically a free patch down the line. The 2019 F2 cars will all come in with the new 2019 F2 rosters, including drivers like Schumacher, Eilert, Calderon, and whatnot. And that'll be a free pack update, they're saying, after the race. And that won't also just add the drivers, but also the teams and the cars, along with the 2018 one sticking around. So you'll have like basically 2 entire seasons of F2 content in the game at some point once those updates. But that's been all the info then, guys, on F1 2019 career mode. It sounds all really exciting, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. It's a really great start. Obviously it's a long way to go to what I hope F1 career mode can become eventually, with a fully fledged thing going on for multiple seasons. But this is such a big step in the right direction, and such a big deal to have this entire 3-race kind of story mode, scenario mode, feeder series working into the F1 career, and then actually having these drivers stories stick around with you, you know, questions being remembered and answers and trying to affect things down the line, I'm all for it. It's really, really cool building that storyline, because F1 is so much more than just the race. It's about everything that encapsulates it, around it, the drama, the storylines, the subplots behind everything. It's all of that. That to me is all of F1. It's not just the stuff that happens on track, and so I'm really, really happy to see this happen, and I can't wait to get into it. But guys, if you did enjoy the video and are looking forward to that kind of stuff, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.